Hello everybody, Logan here with another video. And today we are going to be recapping I'm going to call it wave number 3 from Spirit Halloween. I know I haven't covered the other previous waves, and I probably will go back and cover them a little later on. This is kind of the wave I am the most excited for, as there's more interesting animatronics in it. So, let's see, today is the 14th. So, last night we got videos and stock photos of probably some of the more interesting characters. We got Backbend Bonnie, Monkey Business, Sinister Strawman, and Twisted Grandma. These were some of the animatronics that I think people were more looking forward. The previous wave, that was the Beastcraft, the exclusive Beastcraft characters. And then before that, it was Mutant Sewer Rat, Night Owl, Electrified Corpse, Two-Faced Teddy, and Valak. So today we're going to cover wave 3, because again, I think that's more interesting. And we're going to kind of jump right in with Backbend Bonnie. So, Backbend Bonnie, this is one that I am very excited for. Wow. So Backbend Bonnie is, I think, the cheapest item in this wave, and it is by Techie Design. Now, that's pretty unusual with Techie. Typically, we see them on the higher end of the pricing scale, especially with Spirit Halloween. But this year, they're kind of in the middle end, and with Bonnie, especially kind of on the lower end of the pricing scale, which I am certainly not upset about. Bonnie is coming in at $179.99, and that's a really good deal. Bonnie does have some really nice perks, starting with the fact that her arms are posable. I know that's not common knowledge just yet, but I've seen a store with her where her arms were posed up, kind of similar to Broken Girl from 2014. So that's kind of a nice perk all in its own. Additionally, she has 3 audio tracks. Now, she doesn't speak. She doesn't have any actual phrases. It's just different tracks of her laughing and making creepy sounds, which I like. And I think what makes her stand out more is the fact that she's not a jump scare like Broken Girl. She's a slow reveal, which kind of makes the process of her bending backwards a little more drawn out. And I think people like that more. It's a lot more creepy, and it's a lot more gruesome. And I like that too. Now, granted, I would have liked it if it were a jump scare as well, but I do, weirdly enough, prefer the slow back bending movement that she has. Now, before we really get into this, I do want to thank the Spirit Halloween Wiki for providing pictures that I'm looking at to kind of help with my discussion. The photos on the website, the website right now, it's not fully up yet. It kind of goes up and down because these haven't released just yet. So, I believe it's Cole Walker who's been tirelessly updating these pages. So shout out to him and everyone else who's been working with the wiki this year. They have been on top of updating these pages. So I really appreciate it, because it does definitely help people like me who, again, look at these images to kind of have a more in-depth discussion about these props. So, kind of some things I do want to talk about with Bonnie. The clothing. I love this red velvet she has with a black lace. It's very kind of elegant, and it looks really, really, really nice. And then she has this silver pendant as well. So they added some nice costuming to her, which I really appreciate. In the costuming department, Techie typically does a pretty decent job. When they kind of feel like the character needs more dynamic clothing. So I definitely see that with Bonnie, and I really appreciate it. But I think the strongest thing about Bonnie is that face. She has this really cool take on a possessed girl. There's some elements from The Exorcist I'm seeing with the cuts on her face. And then there's also some little elements from Broken Spine Girl with the sharp, gnarled teeth and that screaming, angry expression. So I see some little callbacks to that prop as well. And then, the long black hair, little stuff like that. I really like that. So, again, I like this prop. So, she's standing at 5 feet, maybe just a hair under 5 feet, which, I think she's supposed to be either a little girl or maybe a teenage woman. I don't know, I like it. She did have a working name originally of Backbend Bernadette. Me personally, I think Bernadette was more fitting than Bonnie. I think especially Techie is pretty good at naming their props, typically. So I think Bernadette sounded better. It's an older styled name, and she is an older styled prop. Bonnie is a prop I am planning on getting for sure. I don't think I will keep that old-timey appearance, though. I think I will redress her to be a circus character, because I'm doing a big circus display next year. I was about to say I do a big circus display, but I'm actually separating my displays now. I'm not making her into a clown. I think I'm going to make her more kind of colorful and make her into a contortionist for my sideshow display, because I like the backbending aspect, and I love that really freaky face that she has. So, but I think it's a fantastic prop, and that price point at $180 I think is perfect. I think that is the perfect price. Even if she were at $200, I think that would have been perfect as well. So, well done on both Techie and Spirit's part. I think the price point's perfect, and then I think how she looks, how she sounds, and how she moves is also perfect. I really do think Techie is on a roll this year. I think they've been doing really, really well. There's a lot more interesting props that they have been pushing out, and we are really seeing it this year. So, yeah, again, I am a big fan of Backbend Bonnie, or I will call her Backbend Bernadette, because I like that name more. So, yeah. So let's move on to our next contender, Monkey Business. I feel like it was just the other day when we saw a video of this guy, right? It just hear me out. But it was like a bunch of crazy things edited over the video, so nobody really got to see this animatronic. That's such a crazy concept, right? Oh yeah, and that did really happen. That's really silly. Almost as silly as his prop, right? Anyway, I'm so glad that we are finally able to see this animatronic in all of its glory, because this is a really cool prop. And I think the people who are really trying to gatekeep it, I wish you could see me roll my eyes, because that was really dumb. You guys were really dumb for that. So, Monkey Business. This guy is by Crazy Create, which, I don't know, part of me is still really surprised about, because when I first saw a close-up of this guy's face, he had a latex mask, which people are like, okay, well, why does a latex mask, make you not think of Crazy Create? It had this powdery substance on it. It had this kind of SVI-esque look to me. Apparently, I'm crazy. And even the costume, how it's stained, to me just screamed SVI. But no, he is Crazy Create. I thought he was SVI. So, I can admit when I'm wrong. I am wrong. He is 100% Crazy Create. So, yeah. So, Monkey Business. This is a very fun prop. I really like this. This is a fun jump scare. It's one of those where it's not trying to be too scary. It's a perfect example of how to do a clown jump scare. It's fun, it's silly, it's nonsensical. It's a clown with a box with a chimp that just jumps out of it at you. It's perfect. I like it. And even the phrases that it has are really kind of goofy and fun. I really like it. I think my favorite one so far is the monkey see, monkey chew phrase. I really like that one. I like this prop quite a bit. My only issue is the price. He is $329, so $330, and I'm struggling to see what about this prop is worth such a high price point, because that's a really big ask for, basically a standing jump scare. When you have like Twisted Grandma, for example, I think she's like what, 250, 230, 250, and she's also a large standing jump scare. And then you also have Sinister Strawman, right? Same price as this, and it's 9 feet. And this is 6'6", like 6.5 feet. So it's kind of like, what about this is worth that much? I don't know. A part of me does see him going to sale, probably getting a price reduction during the season, because that is a really, really high asking price. And I know to some extent tariffs did put a damper on pricing this year, and I'm sure that might have affected some of his pricing. Sorry, said that all weird. But yeah, I don't know, that is very, very expensive. But it's still one of the better clowns that we have gotten this year. I feel like a lot of the clowns really haven't been that great. But this one, he has really good audio and really good animation, and he looks fantastic. I love the look of his face. It does look very realistic and human. And I love the very fun, jokey phrases he has as well. And I'm also a big fan of the monochromatic clown characters. And also his makeup, especially on the eyes, is very interesting. He's got some really cool little makeup details that I think is really, really cool. So, I don't know, I like him. In the costume, he's got some cool little costuming bits here and there that I think look kind of nice too. So, yeah, no, I like him. I like him quite a bit. Is this one I'll pick up? Probably with a coupon. I think I'll get him with a coupon. In store for sure, because Spirit does like to nickel and dime you to death with all of these really unnecessary online charges that honestly I think they just kind of make up to nickel and dime you to death. I've always felt that way. I know some people don't agree, but I can buy a bunch of normal props that come in a bigger box and will end up weighing more than an animatronic and don't have to pay as many fees. which does not make sense, you know? So I really think that Spirit makes some of it up. Being really honest with you guys. But no, I do like Monkey Business. I do wish he wasn't so expensive. And I think he will go on sale. For sure. Without a doubt. So, our next... Ooh, what's a good one? Our next one is Sinister Strawman. This is going to be an interesting one to cover because I do have some opinions about this guy. So now we're going to talk about Sinister Strawman. This is our fifth of the unfolding characters. And this one's really interesting because previously, last season, there was an unreleased Pumpkin character, and now this year we're getting a Scarecrow. And I know people thought that the Pumpkin was going to be Sinister Strawman. That is not the case. The Pumpkin actually was supposed to take Tallulah's spot, and did not because corporate basically could not come to a decision with what they wanted that Pumpkin to be, what they wanted to look like. There was a lot of technical things that they could not come to an agreement on, which is a shame because I like the Pumpkin, but I also like the Scarecrow. So to an extent, I'm kind of glad the Pumpkin didn't come out, because I feel like having the Pumpkin and then the Scarecrow probably would have been a little too much. I like that we have different themed versions of the unfolding characters, with Mr. Dark being kind of the Reaper as characters, Hellspawn being that classic Red Reaper, Tallulah being a witch, and now we have a classic Scarecrow. Now, I hear a lot of back and forth with Strawman, with people either liking him or disliking him. I like Strawman. Is he my favorite of the unfolding characters? No. My favorite is still Hellspawn. It will probably be Hellspawn for a very long time, but I think he is cool. There is some details in this that I've noticed that I think is really cool, and that doesn't surprise me because Techie is a very detail-oriented company, and you can tell. So, some of the things I've noticed, let's start with the face. So he has this kind of burlap horror-esque face. The thing that jumped out is he's the only character out of all of them, right, that does not have the open mouth. And instead what they did is, it looks like he has a big open mouth behind the burlap. So the burlap is stretched, and you can see like the folds and how it looks like there's something behind it that's wide open. So they kind of added that, but also kind of hiding it behind the burlap. And I do think that's cool, and that sculpt style is really neat, and it is really hard to pull off. However, and I know my good friends Ryden had also pointed out, it just doesn't fit the unfolding character motif that they've been doing. I think it would have been better had they gone kind of the route with like Flaming Scarecrow, where it was ripped and behind it there was like teeth and a mouth, instead of the mouth being completely hidden. But obviously I don't want to completely discredit the sculptor behind this. It is a really well done sculpt. It looks amazing. But I just don't think this matches the unfolding character. The hands are also really well done because they are wrapped in burlap and they have stitching on the palms, which looks really, really, really nice. And again, little details like that go a long way. And I know it's something that the average person's not going to notice, especially when he's being displayed. But I know like haunters are going to notice that. And again, little tiny details like that really make something that's pricier like this more worth it. Additionally, they went with a more unique color scheme with this. Typically, Techie likes to do either a light blue, a dark brown, tan. They went with a burgundy with a black overlay with the costuming. And it's a really interesting choice, but I do think it really kind of pops, and I think it's more visually appealing. And then, of course, he has the black, almost kind of dark grayish hat. And he's got like a lot of the rope detailing, the rope around his waist, around his neck, around the hat. I wish he had it around his wrists as well to go along the cuffs, because also, you know, they're usually hanging up on posts. So I think it would have been cool to look like he was up on a post. And he's got the straw hair, and I do really like the burlap collar with the straw collar piece underneath as well. Now, what really sets Strawman apart from all of the unfolding characters is the fact that he has 3 phrases. That's new for the unfolding characters. All of them have either had one phrase or I guess Emily has had 1 audio track, but all the others have just had a phrase. So that's really cool that he just has 3 different phrases that he goes through, and they're really well done. The one that we heard in the demo video is really well written, it's really well acted. I mean, I think this is definitely an improvement from Tallulah. I think it is an improvement from Hellspawn. And I can definitely say that because Hellspawn is my favorite, but Hellspawn's audio, I really love it. Dark's perfect as it is. I do still like Mr. Dark's. But, yeah, no, I do still really like this. I know people are really concerned about the speed of his jump from the video. To me personally, it looks edited, but we won't fully know until people get this and are able to fully compare it. I don't think it really moves that slow. I think that's just them editing the video to look slower, so you can really kind of see it rise up, you know, to that full 9.5 feet. But again, I think it's just something where we're going to have to really see it in action to fully judge that. I can't find the sensor on any of the pictures. I hope it does actually have an infrared sensor and not a light sensor. I know that they're kind of bad about that. Oh no, I think I did find it. I think it is a light sensor. I think it's on his chin. That might be paint. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but I hope he does have an infrared sensor. Overall, I think this is a really strong addition to the unfolding character line. I think Techie has had bangers, except for Tallulah. I don't really like Tallulah, but I also don't really like Witches. That being said, though, I am really excited to see Strawman. Do I plan on buying him? Absolutely yes. I love Techie Scarecrows, and I do a pumpkin patch, so this will be an amazing addition to that pumpkin patch. For sure. So, we're going to move on to our final animatronic, which I have been so excited to discuss since it got leaked. Twisted Granny. And now we end this discussion with Spine Twisting Granny. Or Twisted Grandma. She's got 2 different names. I kind of like the Spine Twisting Granny more than just Twisted Grandma. But it's kind of up to your interpretation as to what you want to call her. So this one is also by Techie. If you noticed, this drop has a lot more Techie in it, which I'm definitely not complaining about. I definitely think Techie has been the strongest company at Spirit this year. At least from what I've seen. However, I do think this is the weakest of the bunch, which is really painful to say, because Twisted Grandma was the one that I was the most excited for. But when I really got to see it, I don't know. I wasn't very happy with the end result. So let's really get into it. So Twisted Grandma was leaked last year or the year before. Basically what had happened is this kid got a hold of a bunch of concept art from a voice actress by the name of Tracy Rose. She basically leaked a bunch of files that she wasn't supposed to, that had audio files, scripts, and concept art. And one of the concept art was spine twisting Granny. And the concept art was definitely a lot different, where she had a dark navy blue dress and kind of a gray creepy cloth shawl on, and she had like buttons down the top of her dress and white cuffs and a white collar. What they ended up going with was a pink dress, and it's the exact print that Gruesome Granny uses. They kept the collar, but they did like a pink trim on it. And they did do the shawl, but it's this kind of really light, almost off-white color. So it's actually kind of hard to see. And it's super transparent. I don't really love how the shawl looks on the final unit. And they did a plastic head on her, which I would be fine with, but they did the puppet mouth. Now, sometimes the puppet mouth works, and sometimes the puppet mouth does not work. It's more dependent on the sculpt. And I think you have something like Immortal Nightwalker and Balloon Clown, where the puppet mouth blends in really well with the sculpt. And then you have props like the Lowe's Witches and Granny, where it kind of looks like a ventriloquist dummy. There's not a really good way to do that without it looking really weird and like a puppet. This is more so like an old Jemmy kind of look. And that's not really a compliment, because the old Jemmy puppet mouths looked really weird too. I think this either should have been vinyl. I think it would have looked best as vinyl if they were doing a moving mouth. Or they should have just done a solid plastic head with no moving mouth. I don't know if that was a plan to do a static face, and Spirit maybe was like, hey, we want a moving mouth. And if that was the case, I definitely would have done vinyl. Vinyl looks better, vinyl moves better. I would not have done latex. And I know Spooky Guy said this in his video, but I do really wonder if this is just their response to latex, because a lot of people definitely call them out for the use of latex masks, because it does not have the proper longevity. And rightfully so, because again, like latex, it doesn't age very well, and it also doesn't look very nice either. Vinyl, I think, is the perfect middle ground. I don't know why Techie is digging their heels in the mud as much as they have been with the use of vinyl, like a soft vinyl. I really don't understand why. It's just like Seasonal Visions and their refusal to use soft vinyl as well. The price point of this is pretty fair at $230, especially with the movement. It has 3 points of animation, it has the moving mouth, and then it has a head that slowly turns 180 degrees, and then the torso quickly moves 180 degrees as well, which is not what I was expecting. I kind of thought it was going to be the torso was going to slowly move 180 degrees, and then the head was going to slowly move 180 degrees, like counterclockwise. No, that was not the case at all. And I was really surprised with what they ended up going with on this. So I'm definitely pleased with the end result. This is just one of those props where I love the movement, but I don't love the look. I understand what they were going for, but I just don't think it was executed properly. Again, it's just, I don't know. I don't love the gruesome granny costuming at all. I really don't care for that. I would have liked the original costuming or just something else, and I don't like the look of the head. The audio, I mean, I don't think Tracy did a very good job doing an old woman. I think it sounds very goofy. I think she's better suited towards the kid-oriented characters more than an elderly woman-style character. It definitely sounds a little weird. I think they should have definitely hired like someone who is older and has kind of that worn, raspier voice rather than Tracy. Granted, Tracy is no longer with Techie for so many reasons, but definitely did not work in this case. Overall, though, I mean, it's a neat prop. I definitely understand why it has its fans. It's just not one that I'm a fan of. And I do see myself picking this up, but I'm probably going to use it as a custom and not as it is, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's really all. I don't know if they're going to add more to this drop, because I still don't think everything has... nothing has actually come out yet. Everything just updated, and now it's all kind of pending release. So they might squeeze in a few more items, because I think the last drop had like five props in it, and this has been 4. So I don't know if they're waiting on something, or kind of what the deal is. But yeah. Overall, I think this is definitely a better drop than the last 2. And I am very excited to see, hopefully next week, if they're going to do this weekly or bi-weekly. I don't know if the Beastcraft stuff was a special deal. So, yeah. Like I said, I will probably go back and cover both the Beastcraft and Wave 1. I've been so busy with a lot of projects, which if you follow me on my Instagram channel at fox_creates, that's FOXX_creates, you'll definitely see that I have been kind of a workhorse here recently. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.